Skell-ton by Maria Capelli. My 3-year-old daughter used to visit a plastic skeleton every time we went to Hammond Park. As far as I can tell, the skeleton, a miniature model in the window of a defunct chiropractic office, was the only reason we went to Hammond instead of the nicer, newer park closer to our house. We used to walk past that spot without incident. I'd never have noticed the office of the skeleton. My daughter's first noticeable interaction was slowing down and staring at the window. She pointed and said, "Skell-ton," just like that. "Yep, looks like it's missing a leg," I said. "It's sad," she said. "Because of the leg?" "Because of everything," she answered. She walked on and we went to the park. We lingered again by Skell-ton on the way back home. It sounds creepy already, but kids honestly say weird stuff all the time. Like she told me once that she wanted to get a job at Tim Hortons because she loves their chocolate chip muffins. I probably would have agreed that sounds nice, honey. She said it would take a while to get the job, though, because all the workers there had to die first. She's not a psychopath. Her concept of death was fully not formed, so it wasn't creepy at all. Really. I wasn't bothered either when the next time we went to Hammond Park, she stopped to talk to Skell-ton. She went right up to the dusty window to have a whispered conversation. Kids are very imaginative. It started to get weird when we got to the park that day. She asked me to break a stick off a tree. I did. She took the stick and went under the slide with it. A few moments later, she came out with wisps of spider webbing on the end. She dropped the stick with the webbing onto the wood chips and pointed as a black widow spider crawled out of the web. I do not approve of killing spiders or insects, but my mummy bear instinct took over and I crushed it with my foot. If you don't know why I crushed it, look up black widows. If you had been around children, you would have as well. Seeing a black widow is very rare. In fact, this is the only one that I've ever seen. Their bite isn't often deadly, but it's painful, and it can be dangerous to young children, like mostly everything is. My daughter was 3, I'll remind you. After checking out the rest of the playground and finding no more spiders, I asked how she knew to take a stick in there. "Skell-ton told me," she said. And now that I write that out, it sounds like a cliche horror. In the moment, however, I was relieved and I rationalized the situation. We'd been here before. Perhaps she's seen spider webs before and she wanted to clear it before she played. The fact that the web belonged to a black widow must have been bad luck for both my daughter and the spider. Kids will often invent an explanation, sometimes wild ones, when pressed for one. An explanation of truth or a story are often the same thing to a child. A little shaken, I took her home. I didn't want to go back to Hammond Park again, but she insisted. She stopped at the skeleton again, of course, and this time she produced a piece of artwork from her little tiny kiddo purse. There were weird images drawn crudely all over what looked like an old paper towel roll. that she had found in the garbage. I didn't think that she could draw like that. In fact, I knew that she couldn't. She's 3. She just draws scribbles. But this, there was a one-legged skeleton, a big pink mouse, a burly, angry-looking bald man in red, a pine tree, a house. Apparently that was our house, which I learned later. And 3 orbs, yellow, red, and green. Around the cardboard tube was a trail of dashes, linking one of the items to the next, to the next. It was way more than she could do. She's whispering to the skeleton at the window. I snatch the cardboard tube and I grab her arm and I start freaking out. What is this? She got upset, naturally, and demanded that I give her map back. Map? It's a map? Did you draw this? Did somebody help you draw this? And I didn't know why I was getting so frantic, other than it felt wrong. They weren't innocent baby scribbles. There was intention and method, and she seemed to know something about it. Quiet, Mommy, she scolded me. Skell-ton likes quiet. He told me how to draw it. Horror spread through my body, and it's familiar to any parent who's suddenly confronted by a threat to their child. The kind of threat that seems beyond our parental power to counter. I picked her bodily right up and she broke down wailing in full tantrum. My intention was to run back home as fast as possible and lock the doors. She fought my grip so hard, kicking and screaming, and I felt something in my back pull. I had to put her down. We have to go to the park before they come, she said. Before what? Pink Mouse and Baldy, she said. Very gently, she touched my hand, like she was the parent trying to calm down me, her child. If we get there before they come, there's chocolate. She tugged, and I went, holding my back. I could try dragging away a writhing child, but I was in so much pain I was sure that I would fail miserably. When we arrived at the park, children were already playing happily. It seemed so normal. I sat on a bench to nurse my back and process what had occurred. Maybe it was nothing. I was tired, always tired. I hadn't taken my own advice about kids and their imaginations. Their connections between places and objects and events is iffy at best. It's very normal to make up stories so the world can make sense to a child. And I tried to relax. But then the chocolate arrived in the form of an ice cream truck working out of season. It was a little chilly, but my daughter and many kids wanted some anyway, so I gave her a $5 and I went up with her. On the side of the truck, the logo caught my eye. 3 dots, yellow, green, red, on top of a simple triangle serving as a cone. Okay. I mean, it's the same, but let's just keep going with this. My daughter ate her ice cream on the bench with me, and my eyes were drawn to movement beneath the lone pine tree in the park. There was the teeny tiniest, skinniest woman I'd ever seen in a faded pink hoodie with a shaved head. Made her ears stick out. The cold temperature in the air made her face look very pink. Could she be the mouse in my daughter's drawing? And then an angry bald man in red pants was with her. He grinned viciously in my direction, and I saw he was missing most of his front teeth. But he wasn't old. He nodded at me and tapped the pink mouse on the shoulder, and she waved at us. My daughter didn't seem to notice them. But then she said, Skell-ton says it's not polite to stare. I looked away. Skell-ton is right. She finished her ice cream. We went home, and we avoided the skeleton and Hammond Park for the rest of her childhood. No matter how hard she tantrumed, no matter how hard she screamed, despite all this, I still kept that paper towel roll. I needed to see if her next drawings were of comparable skill, and they were not. Where the hell did this thing come from?